In this video, we're going to talk about what's going on in this society. We're going to have a ton of different clips from people who are exhausted from the workplace environment, right? We've got Bossman Tilo, Timothy Ward. We've got some articles from Time Magazine. We've got different women who are doing their job search and struggling with this. And we've also got other different clips we're going to go through. But what's going on right now is that many people are dealing with the great exhaustion, which means they're really tired from work. They're sick and tired. They're then burnt out due to the lockdowns. After that, the instability at their country level, constant crime, social tensions, and just really worn out from the workplace environment. You're going back to the office after dealing with work from home. People are really drained. So let's listen to some clips about what's going on with the great exhaustion. Now, before we do that, like I say, it's very real. If you're a man, if you're a person in the workplace, you're feeling drained, you're feeling overworked, and you're still broke after giving everything to your job, right? I help my clients rebuild their career through effective career strategy and financial planning so they can earn more, protect their health, and escape the hamster wheel of a dead-end job. So schedule a call with me right now before the economy gets worse in 2026 so I can help you with your career.
Talking about the great exhaustion. And this makes perfect sense because I think we all can agree everybody's out here tired. People are out here tired. All right. And I know there will be some people who's like, oh, this is nothing new. People have always been tired. Nah, if you're being honest with yourself, I think we all can say it's different now. It's different now. We've covered in so many past videos about how work just ain't working no more. It seems like people are working more hours for less money. And we've been doing this for a while now. It's okay if you go to work and you put in a long day's work and you come home exhausted. If at the end of the week, you got enough money to pay all your bills, feed the kids, have a nice weekend, take your vacations, put money in the bank, invest money, do all the things you want to do. That's okay. But when you're spending all week and sometimes part of your weekend working, and then the payoff ain't paying off no more, it's just tiring. It's exhausting. And then when you turn around and you see prices going up, and then the news is constantly bringing up all this bad stuff that's going on, and your rent's going on, all this stuff, people are just genuinely tired. And we're hanging in there right now. Kudos to us, folks. For now, we are hanging in there. More and more people are getting more vocal, right? But I think we're hanging in there. But when the great exhaustion hits, there's a line. If something doesn't change, and I see so many people saying this in the comments, they're just like, something has to give. This is literally not sustainable. This is not just people wanting to be revolutionary or people being lazy or people just being whatever. It's like something genuinely has to change because people are working themselves to death and they still can't make it. Wasn't like that back in the day. You could make it.
So this is a good little clip because what he's talking about is how people are dealing with fatigue with different demographics, fatigue with the crime rate, fatigue with work, politics, gender issues, different ideologies and things like that. And people are thinking, how can I reach a point of stability? And when he's talking about making it, what is he meaning? Does he mean make it with 8-figure salaries, things like that? He means people want to make it in terms of having some stability or routine in their day-to-day life, that maybe they can work a job. It might not be the highest paying job in the world, but at least it's stable so they can work and plan their life. And people never having the stability is just something that's going to go on forever. People want to think about when they can get out of this fake system. It feels like there is no end in sight, right? What is their plan to exit the game plan? And some people, like I say, they focus on minimalism and other things to do that, right? People really feel like they're going through a hamster wheel, right? So many people, it's just work, consume, sleep. Some people, it's gym, work, cope, sleep. And what do I mean by cope? People finish their day job and they find some cope. It could be ordering fast food, watching Netflix, watching adult content, doom scrolling their phone, and then they sleep. And then that's just how they get through their life. It's excessive amounts of caffeine to get through the day, all that type of thing. People have all these type of copes, right? Gaming, gooning, all types of weirdo stuff, right? Now the thing is, it comes down to what is your game plan, right? What is your strategy to escape a hamster wheel you might be on? And this is what I help my clients to do, right? And what's interesting now is also the gaslighting doesn't work, because the way this system would work would blame some demographic. Oh, it's the boomers' fault. Blame Gen Z, it's their fault. The boomers are selfish and dumb and outdated. Gen Z are lazy and scared to socialize and they can't work effectively. Or they find some other demographic based on race or gender or whatever it would be. But this whole system is deliberately playing divide and conquer. It's rigged, it's fake, it's posting one demographic against the other. And what's interesting now, even the idiots in the street, the NPCs, the normies, they can figure it out, right? And the thing is, what's going to light the match, right? What's going to kick off the fire and lead to civil unrest or people giving up and having some mass level non-compliance. Now, I think something like that happened back in the day in the Rhineland or Germany in the 1940s, but we won't go there now. The point is that inevitably people will snap and just start to do less work or just give up, right? And what does giving up look like? That's what the real question is. Is it just people not getting in relationships, people using escapism, playing video games, or LDAR, if you're familiar with the term, lay down and rot, where men just give up and they just become just a recluse, keeping to themselves? Or people are going to become more dependent on government benefits versus living a middle class life? What does that look like? Do people have the vril, the energy and the life force to really push for a better lifestyle for themselves and continue to contest with that financial and social instability while they pursue their goals? And I think the people who are strong enough, they're actually going to do that.
Tell me why the job market is so bad right now. I literally had an interview a couple of hours ago, and on my way to the interview I was like, wait, I feel like I've been here before. And when I got there, yes, I've been there before. I literally was there a year ago in an interview. And we had the interview, whatever, the interview went well. And then the lady goes, oh, I don't even want to tell you how many people have applied. And then she tells me 87 people applied. And I'm like, oh my God. And when there's 87 people applying, it kind of lowers your expectations of you getting hired. And I literally told her, I was like, oh, I feel like so many people have applied because the job market is so bad right now. It's terrible. It's horrible. 2 weeks ago, I had another interview and the lady literally told me about 60 people applied. And again, it's like, oh my God, it makes me overwhelmed and stressed because again, it's less chances of you getting hired for this position. And it just feels so stressful because I literally haven't had a job since August and it's about to be February. And I've applied to so many job positions and nothing. I don't want to say I'm losing hope because I'm not, because I really want to be as positive and as optimistic as possible. But damn, it's really degrading. And I have a whole bachelor's in global business and I've applied for my major in jobs, but I just get rejected and it's so degrading. I don't understand why the job market is so horrible right now. I can't believe I can't find a job. You guys don't understand how much I wish I was already where I want to be. And I know we have to take obstacles to get there, but damn, I feel like it's taking longer than I expected. I don't know why I thought that right out after college I would have the job of my dreams. And it's crazy. It's very sad. It's very sad, very stressful, very overwhelming, very degrading to have a whole degree and to not have a job, to apply for a bunch of jobs and go to interviews and still don't have a job. I want to be successful already, not only for myself, but for my mom too. She works so hard, and I just wish I could give her everything that she gives me. I wish I had a job already, and I know it's not just me going through this situation. I know it's a lot of us because the job market is really bad, so I know it's a lot of people that don't have jobs, but I don't want to lose my faith, and I don't want any of you to lose faith either, because I know one day we're gonna have the job of our dreams.
So this is more like reasonable woman, right? Who's making some fair points, I would say. It sounds like she's putting a lot of time and effort in, and she's asking firstly, why are things so bad? So many reasons why things are bad, right? Because the government's engaged in money printing, there's lots of high interest rates, or there was, which prevented investment, particularly in the tech sector. Then you had mass migration, which means more people and less jobs, which essentially suppresses wages. You have a lot of outsourcing of jobs from first world going to developing countries like India. Then you have AI taking some jobs or reducing the requirement for having big teams. And the real goal here is to destroy the middle class, and she's a victim of that, even though she hasn't personally done anything wrong. And what I mean about the great exhaustion is actually realizing that many people are never reaching any level of financial stability in their life, and they want to support their parents, do basic things, not even overspend their money and become a consumer or something, but she can't even do that. And that's what I mean about the mental breakdown that she's going to be dealing with here, because she's crying already, right? Where people are job hugging, right? People are sticking to their job even though it's very difficult jobs they might not like, because it's so hard to find a job out there that could actually work for you. Now, the first step, if you're living in this society and dealing with great exhaustion and you're exhausted, is cutting dead weight. Dead weight could be toxic family members, toxic friends, people wasting your time at work, keeping things short with them, with your manager, short conversations, focusing on getting the work done, focusing on pursuing your long-term goals rather than letting people drag you down. And some of the dead weight you might need to cut out your life would be people like this.
I just want to make it known, and I want it to be very clear, that if some crazy shit happens, if the government collapses, if there's an apocalypse, I will not be out here trying to survive. I'm lazy, and quite frankly, I'm not afraid to die. Take me. I don't care. I'm not going to be on some Zombieland shit with a rule book. I'm not going to be spearing people in the head. I'm not going to go raid a grocery store to get fucking a can of pea soup. I'd rather die than eat a can of pea soup. So if something happens and we lose contact on the internet and months later you guys are like, wait, where's Natalie Cannoli? Did anyone check in Fresno for her? I'm gone. Probably day 6 or 7. I won't last longer than a week. I just don't have that kind of drive in me. And I would hope that my fiance would follow in my steps, because I know you bitches are waiting for your opportunity to steal him. You won't get the chance. Maybe, since there won't be any police or government, maybe I'll take him out first, and then I'll let survival of the fittest take me out. So don't come looking for me. Okay, don't hold your breath.
I understand she's joking, it's a bit of a light-hearted thing, but I think about there's so many people like this, and sometimes you hear about the depopulation agenda and the system wants to reduce the population, and I think maybe they're right. Maybe there are too many NPCs and normies wasting your time at work, wasting your time in your personal life, and I see this all the time, right? You see so many people in relationships, they're carrying dead weight, friendships, or even family members, they might be carrying dead weight, people who are just generally negative, people who are just not very helpful or useful, they're always relying and depending on each other. I see this all the time. Social places, work environments, everywhere. These are people who are just not going to make it, right? NGMI, if you're familiar with the acronym. They're not going to make it. And these tough times are just getting started. People like this are going to rely on you. They're going to be the lazy girlfriend, relying on the hardworking boyfriend. Do you want to carry that dead weight and use your limited resources and funds that you're earning from your job that's overtaxed and stressful to prop up your girlfriend and take her to nice places or pay for her living costs when she's completely, utterly useless? Now, these are the things. These people are not serious people. They know things are getting worse. They can see things are getting worse, and they're just, whatever, someone else will carry the weight. And it's like, no, people are going to get rid of you. People are going to dump you. Companies are going to dump you through layoffs. That's what's going to happen, right? And that's the thing. How are you planning every day for a worsening situation in your locality? Not because you are a bad person or you're a lazy person, but because you're around a low quality society and a corrupt government, right? That is reducing the amount of money you can make through taxes and through making the currency worthless through money printing, right? And the thing is, when you're dealing with the lazy, only the strong are going to survive, right? So you got to realize, are you the strong? Are you training and preparing for what is going to be a difficult 5-year time period, at least for now, right? And the thing is, what's funny here, she wants her fiance to be a pushover, nice guy loser like her, right? These are the type of things I keep raising red flags to you about, is being careful around people. This is a career channel, it's a finance channel, I have some broader social commentary, but the real point I'm trying to make to you time and time again is, how are you planning to deal with a lot of people who are dragging you down and pulling you down, right? A lot of these people, they're just a drain on your time, your energy, your money, your attention, and things like that. And this is covered in this Time article, so Time magazine. They explain it in a bit of detail here. People are tired, they're really tired, and that's why they're quiet quitting. They're coffee badging, which is another word for employees who go and work from home, but they have to go to the office 1 day a week, and they just go there to get a coffee and pretend to be working. Then you have bare minimum Mondays, where people pretend not to work on Mondays because they just don't want to do their job. They want to do less work on Mondays to reduce their stress levels. Then it says here, the Great Resignation, 47 million Americans resigned from their position, dealing with a lot of workplace stress and strain a few years ago. There's one trend after the other here where people are just fed up of their jobs. They're just not progressing. They're going nowhere. Here it says here, we're now in the era of the Great Exhaustion, where a time where employees are looking to reestablish their relationship work, setting healthy boundaries because they feel a sense of drain in the workplace environment. But what's interesting here, it says this is a pervasive sense of drain, which means that it's not specific to one person, one location, one industry. It's really much broader than that. There's so many different people who are feeling this sense of drain. You can't just say, oh, it's just in the tech sector, they're just having some there, that's why people are stressed out. But you really see it across different sectors. Here it's talking about how we see it in the choices we make every day. People are ordering dinner, food delivery services because they don't have energy to cook. People are finding ways to work from home so they don't have to commute to work. People are going out less socially because it's important to coordinate people's busy schedules. People are deprioritizing their hobbies and things like that. People are feeling fatigued. They can't even go to workouts or go to the supermarket sometimes. People are just generally completely drained. And I do believe this is part of the broader agenda because the system does not want a resistance to it. They don't want an uprising. They don't want a beta male uprising, if you're familiar with that term. What they want is just to make people work more and more busy, more stressed, more consumed with their phone and politics and debate and drama and division. This combines with one bad choice after the other, which does lead to mental health issues. And then long-term success suffers. You end up really suffering from types of bad things. And then it talks about global issues, right? There's lockdowns, there's inflation, there's global instability, crime, declining living standards, breakdown of relationships. And this is why people are feeling exhausted. They're cracking up and they can't chill out because they're so stressed about all these things. And a lot of the issues are financial, right? Because it says here, 50 years ago, a single income, one man working could pay for a house, a car, a wife and kids. Now, even if you have both parents working, husband and wife, they can barely afford, a house, and even having one or two kids might be a stretch, right? That's why you have a lot of dinks, which is DINKS, double income, no kids. We have couples, married couples, people in long-term relationships, not having kids. They might get a pet or things like that just to save their money. Having a hard job that supports your lifestyle is one thing. Having a hard job that barely pays the bills is another. Much of the exhaustion we see in society and the frustration is about full-time job, but not having the job security or any purchasing power that's in any meaningful way. You're just working hard and you can't afford what your parents' generation could do in the boomer generation, and you can't afford much apart from just providing for your basic income and basic living standards. We have become a work-centered society for generations. However, it's becoming increasingly harder for people to live a busy, work-centered life when it doesn't contribute to quality of life. And this is what's happening to people. They're working harder than ever, hours than ever, more exhausted than ever, but they can't seem to see any benefit. They're like, okay, well, I can barely afford the bare minimum. What is the point? Why would I work 5 times harder than my parents' generation when I'm living, quality of life is much worse than them, right? And there's no purpose or sense of community or family. It's just workism. It's just never-ending work. So this leads to unstable lifestyles, right? People are stressed out about situations out their control, like going in the news of politics, financial insecurity, different groups of people reducing their quality of life. Now, what is the solution here, right? So I discussed different solutions. One part of the solution, because many people are going to struggle financially throughout their whole life, based on how the system's currently going, it will be to firstly put your health above your wealth. And there's the YouTube channels I've covered, or I may cover in the future, where they're not necessarily a fitness influencer, but they just focus on discussing social issues. But they mentioned how many times they put their health over their wealth. They put their health over their career. So, it's working out, fasting, it's work hours, rather than maxing out their wealth and working super hard. Many people realize, okay, I might not become the richest person or have as much wealth as I want or that big house I want, but fuck it, fuck this company, fuck this system. Let me go and focus on my health and work whatever job I can that can give me a decent life, where I can pay for decent quality food and just live my life in a pace I want. And I think many people are looking into that. They're limiting their time with toxic people, setting clear boundaries with their co-workers and their manager to arrive at work on time and leave on time, aligning with people who have similar values and goals as them. And there's little small ways I see that in society playing out in a good way, where there's different running clubs. You might have heard of running clubs where you can register online at a certain location, and maybe every Saturday people go for a run in the local area, and then people socialize a bit before and after that. And that's how you kind of meet people who have similar beliefs as you, maybe similar values. And people are also engaged in intentional communities where people want to live around people who have similar, maybe conservative traditional values, or other people who have more liberal values want to spend time time with the types of people. People are just being more protective of their time and more strategic in how they manage their relationships too, right? And people politely declining other things like after work drinks. People rather go for quiet walks in nature rather than go to work drinks and be stuck in gossiping sessions and things like that. People detaching and blocking the news updates on their phone and things like that. And there's an important quote I want to give you, important little lesson. It's called "Not my tribe, not my problem," which means if something's going on in the world or at work and it's not impacting me directly, or people I care about, maybe your race or ethnicity, your religion, whatever it be, you just don't care about it. It's not that you hate others or you hate your co-workers, you're just indifferent to it, you're detached from it. Because we live in a world where there's a tsunami on the other side of the world and you're meant to care about it. There's a war somewhere else that has nothing to do with you or your people, however you define that. And then you're told you have to worry about it, you have to donate money to it. And it's like, those people don't care about me. Like, why should I care about them? They're already getting tons of money from my taxes. Why would I care about them even more than that, right? I don't even know them. So the point is, if it's not my tribe, it's not my problem. And many people are thinking about that this time, right? And the real question is, who is your tribe? Who are your people? Who do you actually care about? Of course, yourself and your immediate family members, but what other groups you identify with beyond that? And like I say, boundaries of work, time and discussions and times you spend with other people, having plan B opportunities, whether that's investing, whether it's other income sources, thinking about, you know, what level of work you need to do that is good enough to keep your job. And then there's no point, many people are thinking there's no point being a good performer or a high performer at work because it's not going to really result in a promotion. And even if you get the promotion, it might not be a significant pay rise. So many people are dealing with that exhaustion by limiting the amount of effort and energy they're putting in.
This is going to be something totally different. When the average year-old stops caring, you know what I mean? When the 35-year-olds get exhausted, yeah, it's going to be something different, right? But in this video, once again, this is not a doom and gloom channel. I do like to talk about some of the things that are going on, especially the things that affect us. There's a lot of channels where they like to talk about stuff going on that doesn't even affect their audience. They just like to I wanted to talk about some simpler things I think we all can do that will keep us from victim to the great exhaustion. Okay? One of the things, and I'm actually doing it right now, I think we have to, in our free time, we have to prioritize doing things that light us down, doing things that bring us joy, doing things that make us happy. I'm actually doing two of them right now. I'm walking out in nature and I'm making a video. I think we have to, and I know after a long week of work, we're tired. Sometimes it's hard to do, but I think we have to spend a certain amount of time per week doing things that mean something to us. I have this routine I do some days after work. I walk down to the little grocery store. It's like a 20-minute walk from my housing. I walk down to the grocery store. I hit the post office on the way back. I walk back. Now, there's a bus that goes there, and I could take the bus. And there's a little free kind of around here that I could use. I don't need to walk, but that's something I do for myself. You know, I like to walk, and so I take me a little walk, and it's just something I'm doing for me. You know, I think we have to prioritize doing things just for ourselves. Even if it's something small, like show I have some control in my life. It's not all about working and paying bills and doing all the other stuff they say I have to do. Have some power in this life. We have to that type of stuff because that brings us back to center. We're so far out in left field all day with this other stuff that we don't want to be doing. I think the only way to back to center is to spend some time every day, something that means something to us. It's funny, even if it's tiring, it can be invigorating. Take my little walk and then I get home and I'm on the bed, but I feel so much better because I did something I wanted to do. Also believe that we need to get back to community. And that means friends. If you're blessed enough to live in an actual community where you and your neighbors know each other and hang out, that's the same thing. But I think we have to, one of the reasons I think we're all struggling right now is often we spend so much time just our own bubble, or we spend most of our time around people work we don't even really like. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's just I think we've lost the art of and we're just not spending enough time with people that again, reinvigorate us and make us feel good and make us realize feel alive. and realize why we're even doing any of this. And I know we don't always live near family, and a lot of times we don't have friends nearby. But I mean, if it means contacting them on FaceTime, even if it means calling them, even if it means just sending them a message. Earlier today, I sent a message to a friend of mine because I've been being too tired to call or talk with her. A lot of times we have, 3-hour conversations. One of my best friends in the whole world. I haven't been able to talk to her lately because I've been so tired. But I just sent her a message. It's like, miss you. You know what I mean? Sorry, we haven't been talking, but as soon as I get a chance, we'll talk. And we kind of up. And just her responding and us sending a few back and forth made me feel better. Get out. Just make,
He's making a good point here, right? And the first little clip that I included there was him saying, look, this isn't just a Gen Z issue. This isn't a young person issue. There's people who in their mid-40s who are feeling burnt out too, right? Millennials, Gen Z, X, right? Older generations too, right? They've had enough of this kind of workplace dynamic and this social broken dynamic. And there's 4 key tips to help deal with those type of scenarios, in addition to what I said earlier, just before this clip, which would be, I'm in nature. I always think about, I'd rather be around 10 trees, like the trees in the background of the screen right now, than 10 normies, right? I think about how depressing it is when you're around a lot of normies and NPCs on public transport, depressing it is on the subway, on the London Underground trains. So think about off-peak lifestyle, which is another phrase I came up with, where you spend your time outside at off-peak times, like go to the grocery store or go out and do whatever activities when it's less busy, like going to the gym when it's less busy, because there's less people there, you have to deal with less low-class behavior. But at the end of the day, if we keep having the great exhaustion and it keeps continuing, how does it end up looking like? It looks like Korea, where you have over 1 million young Korean employees, Korean people who are unemployed and they're not seeking work.
More than 1 million young South Koreans are neither working, studying, nor training to secure a job. A recent report by the Korea Employment Information Service, KEIS, said. South Korea is now the only OECD member among 11 major economies checked where the proportion of so-called NEETs, those not in employment, education, or training, has increased since 2014. As of 2024, about 18% of Koreans aged 15 to 29 are NEETs. The third non-seeking category have increased the most, which may translate into long-term unemployment down the line. The report then called for public policies targeting youth and to help those at risk of long-term disconnection. KEIS also stressed that helping non-seeking needs require more than mere motivation and emphasized the role of customized support to meet the needs of individuals.
This is kind of funny, but right, there's over 1 million Korean people or men who could be working, but they're not working, right? They're giving up. They're doing LDAR. If you're familiar with the term LDAR, it stands for lying down and rot, which is like an incel term for giving up on life and just chilling out, strolling on your phone, laying down on the floor all day long, right? There's a term for this. It's called lying flat in Asia, another similar term for this, right? Now, what's interesting here, they came up with this term non-seeking needs, which is just basically people, typically men who are of working age, who are deciding they're just into work, right? They see there's no purpose of it. In Korea, if you weren't aware, they have a very long work culture, very competitive environment at the education system to get top grades, to get top jobs. And many people are just perceived as failures. They don't have those top jobs, those high stress jobs. They're just not really progressing in life at all, and they give up because the pressure is just too much. It's like what you see in the West right now, but really accelerated, because one thing about Asian culture in general, and I can say this coming from an Indian background, is very social status driven about what job someone has, how much they're playing the social status game. And then if you have lots of people who are failing at that or can't even get into that, they end up just giving up completely because they feel like a complete failure. It's like a form of death before their real death, right? It's a form of just checking out. Now, what he's talking about here is how the government says they want to help people with customized support to brainwash these people back into participating in the system, right? They need customized support to encourage them to look for a job. But many people are making the logical, rational decision, like, why would I opt for a system that's going to tax me so highly, that's putting such high living costs, such ridiculous terms on me participating in this society. They just don't want to be pushed into a system where their job is to just work really hard and then consume a bit in their free time and then go back to working extremely hard, long hours and not having much to show for it. So this is the thing, like people always blame, oh, it's health issues, oh, these men are disillusioned, the men are depressed, but it's like maybe they're making a rational decision to like lie down on the floor and not participate in this society, right? Because they've completely given up on looking for jobs. Got a few interesting comments here. Hot Chero says we're tired, overworked and underpaid. John Dorian says, if you're not desperate, the greedy corporations cannot exploit you. And this goes back to what I'm saying, right? If you have minimalism and if you're focused on not endlessly pursuing social status, then you actually have a lot of leverage in your hand. You're not just someone they can easily exploit and use. You get what you have is saying when you work your whole life and a house is still not affordable, it should say something. And this is the thing, if the system wants more men to participate in society, they should make it somewhat realistic to pursue some of those goals, like owning a house. 1M3 says, this is worldwide. We have zero motivation. Thank you for all the previous generations who betrayed us in all aspects and benefited from it, right? Moon is saying that working or not, we're still broke, so what's the point? And that's the key thing, right? If people are working hard, then what's the actual point of overworking themselves? Andrew North is saying, it's so sad to see what the modern world is doing to young people and young men. It's the same in the UK. And this is the thing, right? So people are thinking, why should I be working hard? It's the same in the UK. People are responding with, you know, it's going on in France. It's the same thing in Mexico. And I covered this in my earlier videos. If you check my videos for the social contract, right, where so many countries are dealing with the same thing. You know, people are dealing with tax rates, lack of progress in their life, lack of ability to buy a house, lack of healthy relationships. So people are thinking, why should I work hard and pay 40% tax so a bunch of migrants can live and have a big house got paid by the government and a big family when I can't afford to have one kid? I can't have a stable job. What's the point? I have to work hard and pay taxes for the government to go and kill innocent people through pointless wars on the other side of the planet, to push liberal feminists with or pay taxes for what government is going to care about the climate. You know, the UK government dim the sun. Go and look that up. Dimming the sun. It's one of the UK government's uses of your tax money to care about the climate, is to literally spray some gas in the air to make the sun dimmer. Even though the sun's good for your health, they say they're going to make the sun look less dim so it protects the climate. You can go and look this up, but this is the type of ridiculousness you have to deal with. And every country is dealing with it, right? In Poland, it's the same. Things are so bad here in Mexico. So many people are struggling with these type of scenarios. And I've traveled. I've been to places like Albania where people are dealing with the same type of difficult scenario. Now, if you're really looking for solutions in this crazy world, unique tailor-made solutions, right, to escape the great exhaustion, right? If you don't want to be a man who's drained, overworked, and still broke after giving everything to your jobs, you want to rebuild your career, this is what I offer. I help you rebuild your career strategy to overcome those challenges, right? So you can earn more, protect your health, and escape the hamster wheel. Schedule a call with me now, right? So if you click the link below, we can get started and putting yourself in a better position compared to others as things continue to get worse. Let me know in the comments, do you feel you're part of the great exhaustion or not? And I'll see you in the next video.